Hello, we're here today with Bill McConnell, author of Together, Surprisingly Simple Ways to Loving Your Wife Forever. Welcome, Bill.
Glad to be here.
Excellent. Let me ask you some questions about you as a writer. Does writing energize you or exhaust you?
Yes. When I start writing, I kind of get into a flow, and then it's hard to stop me. But when I take a few days off, I'm thinking I never want to go back,
Right.
which is, I think, is a mistake. But it's like, oh, I got to start writing again. But once I start, then like 5 minutes after I start, then my mind just kind of shifts into, oh man, let's go.
Right.
And that's kind of how it is for me. So
Okay. Tell me about an experience you had, an early experience, where you learned that language has power.
I've always been a person that loves books. Way back when I was in college, my roommate and I had a library of such college magnitude that some kids wouldn't walk 4 blocks to the library. They'd come and see if we had something first. They really would.
That's
And
awesome.
we'd actually check in and check out books just because some others were just too lazy to go to the library. And I've always had a library my entire life. Since college on, I've always had a library of 300, 400, 500 books. I've kind of pared it down a little bit now, but I love the written word. I've tried Kindle, but it's hard to write in the margins and it's hard to underline things.
There you go.
And I've just kind of gone back to the paper thing, and I absolutely love it.
I can see you've got part of your library right there behind you.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Tell me, what kind of research do you do and how much time do you take on that before you begin a book?
I actually don't research before I begin a book. For me, I start writing, and then I say, I really need some background on this aspect. I don't want to start creating somebody else's ideas.
Right.
I want to have my own ideas, and then as I go along, I think I'm going to need a little more background on this idea that's already mine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it works for me. So I research as I go, and sometimes that slows up. Sometimes you can go down a rabbit trail, get stuck in a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And so I'm aware of that. But sometimes I'll go down a rabbit hole for a week, and then I say, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be writing a book.
Right.
I research as I go, and researching is not that hard for me. I enjoy digging out the rations and the extra data. I just enjoy doing that as part of the process.
Awesome. Okay. So tell me, in your book Together, what did you edit out?
What did I edit out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Together is the first book I've ever written. I've written 2, but this was the first, and I basically started to write it simply because I wanted to prove to myself that I could write a book. So, what did I edit out? Hundreds of grammatical errors.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of put it together. This is actually the second iteration of the book. The first book had a different subtitle, which I'll never repeat in public again.
Oh, come on.
No, it just totally missed the mark.
Okay.
And so when I went back and said, I'm going to do this again and do it better, I kept the same concept. I kept the same message. I kept all of that, but I changed the subtitle. I changed the back cover. I just made it much more appealing overall. And so the first one I actually published as a rough draft, and the second one I actually had. It's done much better. Let's just put it that way.
Great. Great. Okay, so let me ask you, what does literary success look like for you?
Literary success. I would love to say that I'm the next J.K. Rowling, but we know that's not right. From a bank account standpoint, it's got nothing to do with it. Literary success means somebody reads my book and actually changes part of their life because of it.
Oh,
Their life is changed in one aspect or another because they read my book and something clicked saying, I need to make that change in my life. I need to make that shift in my thinking. And that's success to me, is changing, not changing another person's mind, but getting into another person's mind and having them grow to become a better person, to become a better man or a woman, to become a better husband or wife.
awesome. I like that. Okay, now we're going to talk about the book.
The book.
The book. Tell me briefly the backstory behind this book you've written.
Well, the backstory, it's a story about my wife and myself. About 7 years into a very dysfunctional wedded bliss, I was too busy to go on vacation with her. I was too busy to spend time with my wife. And she'd about had it. She went home to visit her parents for a week. And while she was home, she was propositioned by her high school boyfriend to leave me and stay with him, and they'll get married and they'll live happily ever after. He'd never gotten over her. He still loved her. And I was too busy. Calls me up while she's on vacation. And she says, she told me the proposition. She said, I want a divorce. And I said, and it was a ton of bucks. I never saw anything coming. I was delusionally wedded.
Mm.
And I thought it was bliss, but no. So I was blindsided, hit by a truck, all but passed out when she said that, because I thought everything was fine and she thought nothing was fine.
Right.
Talked her into coming back. We didn't have kids at that point, so it was easy for her to walk away. But she came back. She had to come back at least to get her stuff. So I talked to her and saying, let's go out, let's figure this out. And she gave me one more chance. She gave me one more opportunity. And I took the most of every opportunity. Spoiler alert, we've been married 39 years now.
So you're still married.
Oh yes, we are still married. We are happily married.
So something what you learned about this worked.
What I learned. Yeah. And so after 30 some years of actually being married, and I thought about, I want to write a book. Again, I mentioned part of it, I want to write a book just to prove to myself that I could write a book. But so what am I going to write about? Well, I'm going to write something about the most important thing in my life, pretty much, and that's my wife. And this story comes up that happened so many years ago. And I got her permission to write it the way it should have been written. And yeah, so that's I finally got to get out. And then I started to analyze, well, what are these surprisingly simple secrets for loving your wife forever? And there's the book.
Wow. So the audience that you wrote this for, I think, is primarily men. Is that correct?
Primarily.
Because you say wife in the subtitle.
Sure. I've tried to make it a wake-up call for men, because I'm writing from, I'm a guy, and I'm in perspective, and the subtitle is Surprisingly Simple Secrets for Loving Your Wife Forever. But you can take the basic concepts, you can take the basic secrets that I wrote about in the book, and you can turn them around and say, for loving your husband forever.
Right. I was going to say, in this culture where we're at today, there are about as many women working outside the home as there are men, and working in powerful positions and busy all the time. So it could very well, I think, benefit women to read it.
It really comes down to just thinking of the other person and doing things for them. The secrets aren't really that secret. It's just an awareness,
right,
in different aspects of our life. One secret, I'll tell just you. Don't tell anybody else.
Okay, I'm going to lean in. Okay.
Lean in. One of the secrets has to do with bathwater.
Bathwater.
Now, guys would think, wait a minute, bathwater. I pour water every night for her. Every single night. She comes home. She comes home from work. She wants a bath in the evening, and every guy likes a clean wife. Let's just be honest about that. And I pour her bathwater, and I've had some people say, "Well, Bill, you're just a whipped puppy. You're just beat into submission by a dominant wife, and you're a submissive husband." And it's got nothing to do with nothing. It has to do with me loving her, and it's in the little things. So
Right.
I pour her bathwater now, and I come at it from an analytic view. Think about it. It takes a minute and a half to pour bathwater, and that's if you can't figure out hot and cold. It takes less if you know actually hot and cold. So I wipe her tub out. I turn the water on. Make sure the plug's up. That's important because I've run water for 10 minutes and it's just going down the drain. But that's just me being forgetful. Pour bath water. Put a little bath water. I just make bath water away, and it takes a commercial. I mean, nobody needs to see Paint Man life insurance again. I've seen all his commercials. I love them, but I don't need to see them again.
Right.
If it's on Monday night, you love Monday Night Football. I just take a commercial. I go start a bath water for her. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And it's because I love her. And it's the little things. It's the little things that make your spouse love you all the more.
Oh, what I was going to say is she probably adores that 1 minute and a half service that you do for her.
Yeah, it's one little thing. It's not. People make a big deal out of it. I'm not going to do that because I'm a man. She knows how to pour her own bathwater. That's not the point. She
Right.
does know how to pour her own bathwater. I'm convinced of it because when I'm not home, she's still clean. She's doing her own bathwater, but I do it for her just as a simple act of love.
Right.
Not because I have to, not because I need to, not because she needs me to. I just do it because I love her. It's the little things.
Wonderful. So you've been married now, what, 41 years?
39.
Oh, well, see, I'm trying to add a couple for you.
It just seems longer.
So if there was one piece of advice that you could give new husbands, what would it be?
Look for the little things and be willing to do them for the long run. I mean, the younger husbands in the newer marriages, they think everything's fantastic, but then once they settle in, okay, both the husband and wife, they begin to the true colors come out, which is fine. What you need to know the true colors with each other.
Right.
But if you just pick a few things that are just little things and you just choose to do them,
Yeah.
you may think that your spouse is taking them for granted, and sometimes you're going to feel like, I'm never going to do her bathwater again. I'm never going to help her with this again. I'm never going to do that again because she doesn't appreciate it. I guess a couple of things. The two things is first of all, do little things. Figure out some little things that just make her feel special. And second, anything that she does for you or your spouse does for you, don't take it for granted. Because if you take it for granted, it just kind of takes the whole act of love out of it. Don't take your spouse for granted. It's the little things.
Right. So it's not the huge Valentine card and the bunch of balloons and big box of chocolates Valentine's Day thing. It's the other 364 days of the year.
If you do one small simple thing for your spouse 365 days a year, that's save your money on the roses and balloons. All right. Now, I haven't bought my wife flowers in forever, for years.
Right.
And she knows why. I mean, I could, and it would make her really happy but we're into the daily things and not the big things.
Right.
I'd rather spend that money on something that would last longer and would mean something for her in the long run.
Right.
So there's another thing that I do, and this is it's kind of on topic, but it's kind of off topic because we have one daughter, and every year I buy my daughter and my wife matching necklaces for Christmas.
Oh.
Now, and they're not necessarily necklaces in the world, obviously, but they're not the cheapest. But I buy them matching necklaces, and they almost expect it from me. It's like this year, what am I going? And there's been some years when my taste in necklaces absolutely was terrible, and they were really nice, and they say thank you, and they put them on once, and they never wear them again.
Yeah.
But then there's another necklace that both of them wear all the time. And it's hit or miss, but there's like one thing every year that says, I love you as my wife and I love you as my daughter. And it also creates a connection between the two of them.
Right. Oh, that's just a wonderful idea.
So
That's something that's going to last on into the years.
yeah.
Not just the piece of jewelry, but the relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And the connection is I gave it, but it also creates a continued connection with the mother and the daughter. And we just have the one daughter. We just have one child. And so that's just kind of a special thing they actually look forward to. And it's kind of off topic, but it's also, hey,
Right.
we're a family. So
Right. That usually happens within a marriage. Some don't, but it does.
Mhm.
So I know what you want, how you think that women and men are going to benefit from this. What was it that actually just, you could not say no to writing this book?
Just the story itself. I know other families or other marriages that struggle,
Right.
and men that just can't get over the mindset of she needs to do this and I don't ever need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is a little bit of dominance and all that kind of stuff. And please understand, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a progressive person in any way, shape, or form with regard to any of that stuff. And some people have said that, well, I'm wife up in a statement of modern feminism, and nothing could be further from the truth. No, I've been told this
I
by
can.
yeah, and nothing could be further from the truth. What it is I just love my wife, and in one of the first couple chapters of the book, I lay out a biblical foundation for marriage, and it's got nothing to do with one person being better or another person being less or more or anything. It's biblical foundation for of a man and a woman in the biblical context of marriage.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And in all honesty, the hardest, and I'm saying this from a guy's point of view, I get it. All right. In the Bible, it says women submit to your husband, or wives submit to your husbands.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, fine. And we can go off on all kinds of topics and arguments about that.
Right.
Right. But it says first, husbands, love your wives.
Yes.
If a husband really seriously loves his wife, he will do everything for her to love and protect and honor her in every way, shape, or form. And there's not a problem for a wife to submit to a husband who loves like that. If
Right.
a husband loves a wife the way God loves the church, there's no problem with submission. There's no problem whatsoever.
That's huge. That is huge. Okay, so last question. What is it that you hope that your book will achieve in the lives of your readers?
Better marriages, stronger marriages, a better understanding of that whole husband-wife relationship from a biblical standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and just letting go of some of the stereotypes, and just loving each other. I could care less what somebody says about me pouring my wife's bathwater.
You're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, whatever. I actually hadn't talked to somebody for a couple, reconnected on a Zoom call, and the first thing she said was, "Are you still pouring your wife's bathwater?" And I said, "Yes, every day. Every day when I'm home."
Okay, see, I just had this picture of you on your walker in like 20, 30 years. And you going right in there to the bathtub and still turning the knobs and starting that water.
Take me 5 minutes to sit down and 10 minutes to get back up, but I'll probably still be doing it.
I can see that. Bill, it has been an absolute delight talking with you. I appreciate you so much allowing me this opportunity to hear more about your book and to be able to share with others about it.
It's been absolutely my pleasure. My pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me here, Faye.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye.